Welcome everyone to the Wednesday Grind. I'm your host Angel, and today we're going to be diving into Etsy SEO and specifically the recent update that they rolled out at the end of August. Let's review what's on the agenda today. So first up, we're going to be going over the basics of SEO. Then we're going to be going over the article, some of the recommendations that Etsy has made. And then we're going to get to the good stuff. So I took the time to analyze 1,000 recent Etsy bestsellers to see if they're actually following these guidelines. And my findings are pretty surprising. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I also want to give you guys some tips, some strategies that I discovered while I was analyzing the bestseller SEO. And a repeatable pattern also emerged from this, or a formula that I'm pretty excited to share with you guys during the Spill the Beans segment. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. All right, let's dive into the grind. Really quickly, guys, you can grab my SEO cheat sheet, which is going to cover everything that we're going over today in one quick reference guide, as well as a really cool resource that I'll be talking about later on in the episode. So just comment SEO cheat sheet and I'll send that your way, or you can grab it in the description. If you ever wondered why some listings on Etsy seem to get all the views while others get crickets, then you're going to want a solid understanding of SEO, or search engine optimization. SEO helps buyers find you by matching keywords in the search query. Keywords live in titles, tags, categories, attributes, and even in the description. When a customer comes to Etsy, they already have an idea of what they're looking for, which means they're intent-driven. So we want to make sure that our keywords are matching our intent-driven buyers so that our listings can be discovered. So why does SEO matter? The primary way shoppers find your listings is by typing in the search query. And we want to keep in mind that the right views is more important than lots of views. We really want we want our listings to match intent-driven buyers. With strong SEO, you can get consistent traffic without paying a lot in ads, which is super important. All right, so now let's review Etsy's 2025 Keyword 101 article. I will also have this linked in the description below. Etsy is recommending categories and attributes should now act like tags. So you'll want to take the time to fill those out. If it is a short sleeve shirt, for example, you'll want to select that. So you want to make sure you're taking the time to fill that out, because that is SEO and will help the right buyers to find your listing and increase your discoverability on Etsy. Another recommendation is that titles should be short, clear, descriptive. Tags should use all 13 long tail phrases, and you should use a variety. And as far as descriptions go, the keywords matter in the first few sentences. Do's and don'ts from the article. Do use descriptive titles. Do add relevant attributes. Do diversify tags. Don't keyword stuff titles. Don't duplicate tags and attributes. These are guidelines, not an algorithm update. I recommend testing the keyword recommendations only on new and low traffic listings. If you already have a listing that is ranking for keywords, getting views, likes, favorites, it's getting added to cart and certainly sales, don't touch those listings. You don't want to break what's already working for you, because this could drastically kill the traffic to those listings. So do not touch those. Now, I do think a lot of these recommendations are pretty solid, and I practice them myself in my own SEO. But if I were to review my best-selling titles and tags, including the listings that are selling right now, I'll be honest with you, some of those titles and tags wouldn't exactly align with these new recommendations. I did want to mention in the cheat sheet you can grab just by commenting cheat sheet below, I am including a link to my free handbook SEO optimizer tool. This is an AI-powered tool that's trained to generate SEO that adheres strictly to these new recommendations. You can also generate SEO by simply uploading a photo of your product. And it can also help you optimize existing title and tags by simply copy and pasting those into this optimizer. But as a word of warning, I do think that the best SEO that you can create is simply from your own research. You can get relevant and helpful ideas from using AI, but I would caution you from using that exclusively. And once again, as a reminder, it does not replace your own research. I also created a hybrid and a bestseller SEO optimizer, which are AI chat boxes that are trained to generate either hybrid version or strictly bestseller version or styled SEO. So I trained these chat boxes using what I learned and the data that I gathered from these bestsellers. They're utilizing the bestseller formula that we're going to talk about a little bit later when we get to the spill the beans portion. Like the other optimizer, you can also generate SEO by uploading a photo of your product, and you can optimize existing titles and tags by simply copying and pasting those into the AI chat box. But just like I mentioned earlier, AI can be really helpful at generating SEO, but it still does not replace your own research that you can do. And these are available in the Trend Lab membership, which I'll link below. In there, you'll also find Trendy, my new AI Trend Scout that can help you discover demand early and is optimized to help you make more sales. I just dropped this in the Trend Lab, so if you are in the Trend Lab, make sure you log in and take a look. Super excited to get some feedback and see how you like this. Just comment Trend Lab if you guys want to check that out, or you can check it out in the description box below. Let's go over how I find bestsellers on Etsy. Before we discuss what bestsellers are actually doing on Etsy with their SEO, as well as the SEO formula that I talked about earlier, let's go over how I actually find bestsellers on Etsy. So bestseller analysis is really important because it provides real-world proof of what's actually selling and working right now and what's in demand right now, which is more important and way more helpful than just theory of what we think is going to sell. To get the most helpful data on Etsy with bestsellers, I personally use Profit Tree's new Etsy research tool, Etsy Radar, which pulls bestseller data on Etsy within just a few seconds. It really helps show you what's already working. You can track different niches, competition, keywords. It allows you to sort by how new the listings are, which helps you to quickly spot gaps in the market. It's great for helping you spot trends early before they're oversaturated, and it's such a time saver. All right, guys, time to jump into the really good stuff. What you've been waiting for, my Spill the Beans segment. So I analyzed 1,000 bestsellers on Etsy to see if they were actually following the recommendations given in the latest Keywords 101 article that we talked about earlier. And just for context, I did choose to use holiday listings because I wanted to use niches that were going to have tons and tons of bestsellers. So about half the listings were Halloween, half of them were Christmas. They were both handmade and physical products. Here are some patterns that emerged from that analysis. So first off, they front-loaded main keywords. For example, they put Christmas ornament or baby's first Christmas ornament at the front of the title. They always include the product type in those front-loaded main keywords. They did add descriptors, so whether it was personalized or funny or oversized or cute. They added seasonal and occasion keywords like Halloween, Christmas 2025. A lot of them did have the year specifically. And they typically ended with the audience or the context for the listing. So for kids, for moms, family matching. All right, so now let's go over the tag pattern that emerged whenever I was analyzing this data. All right, so I do want to mention that I'm not necessarily recommending this. So I'm not saying that you should be doing this, but this is just what bestsellers are doing. Take from this what you will. So I noticed a redundancy with variations, main keywords repeated in different forms. So if it was a bag, for example, like a Halloween tote bag, it might say trick-or-treat bag, Halloween gift bag. So that keyword bag was used repeatedly. The tags often included an audience, mom gift, teacher gift, kids, couple. They often had occasion or event tags. So Christmas 2025, spooky season, baby shower. They often include an aesthetic. So retro, boho, minimalist, gothic, cozy, for example. And they did stack synonyms, such as ornament, holiday ornament, Christmas ornament, and so forth. All right, so let's go over what bestsellers actually followed and what they did not follow. Titles should be short, clear, and descriptive. Bestsellers did not follow. They were often long, between 100 and 140 characters, and were stuffed with multiple relevant keyword phrases. Lead with descriptive keyword and product type. Yes, they did do this. Avoid keyword stuffing or keyword salads. No, bestsellers did not tend to follow that suggestion. Bestsellers often use stacked synonyms and variations. So for ornament, they would have Xmas ornament, holiday ornament. Next, the handbook keyword 101 guidance suggested not to repeat categories and attributes in the tags. No, bestsellers did not follow this. Bestsellers frequently repeat roots in tags with slight variations. And I get why people are doing this because they want to have exact keyword matches. So when someone is typing in holiday ornament or Christmas ornament, they want to get those exact keyword matches. However, Etsy does mix and match your keywords. And so it's not really necessary to do that. You're losing out on basically additional real estate that you could be ranking for and other pathways to discoverability. However, there is obviously something to exact keyword matching. Otherwise, I don't think that it would be working for these bestsellers. So I can see both sides of the argument there. Let me know how you feel about that and what you've noticing working or not working for you. The next suggestion, use multi-word phrases for tags. Both bestsellers and the handbook agree. All 13 tags should be unique, no repeats. No, bestsellers, this is another place that they break from this advice. Bestsellers allow redundancy with variations, so Halloween tote bag, custom Halloween bag, etc. So going back to their goal of wanting to have that exact keyword match boost. All right, so the next suggestion is to focus on long descriptive words in your keywords. Yes, bestsellers do actually do that, which will help you to be discovered on Etsy. The handbook suggests using synonyms and variations, so not doing a lot of keyword stuffing and not being redundant. Bestseller SEO stacks synonyms, so ornament, Xmas ornament, holiday ornament. So they are using different synonyms, but they are being a little redundant because they're reusing that specific product bag. All right, so the next recommendation, attributes should act like tags, no need to duplicate. So if it's already in your tag, you don't need to duplicate that keyword in your listing. Once again, bestsellers are not doing that. They are often including the attribute like cotton shirt or ceramic mug in the tags. All right, so next up, Etsy is recommending to not include misspellings and plurals. Bestsellers check off for that. They are not doing that. Next, Etsy suggests no multiple languages. Bestsellers are following that guidance. The article suggests adding who the gift or the product is for, which bestsellers do. Etsy is intent-driven. We want to make sure our listings are intent-driven as well. Who is this for, or what problem does this solve? So both the article and bestsellers do include occasional and event terms like Christmas, Halloween, etc. Next, the handbook recommends not to add too many keywords in the title, keeping in mind buyers' readability. Not surprising here, bestseller titles are sacrificing readability for coverage. So they want to try and stuff in as many relevant keywords as they can, as many relevant phrases as will fit to rank for different keywords on Etsy. Next, the handbook recommends avoiding fluff, like on sale, all caps, etc. Bestsellers do not do that, so they stay pretty clean there. Next, do not mislabel materials. Once again, bestsellers do not do that either. And last, it's hard to see here, but descriptions should naturally include keywords. Some of them use generic templates. I didn't spend a lot of time on the description or optimize it, but some do. All right, let's explore this bestseller SEO formula that emerged during my research. Not every listing followed this exact formula, but this was the general pattern that emerged. They front-loaded the occasion or season keywords, Halloween shirt, Christmas ornament, and so forth. Then they made sure to have the product type. So if it was a bag, if it was an ornament, if it was a shirt, they didn't want the customer to guess what was in the title. Next, they added personalized attributes such as cozy, oversized, or whether or not it was a custom personalized item. Then towards the end, they would typically add an audience or recipient. So going back to the concept of having intent-driven searches and buyers, they would have another descriptor, such as if an item was cozy or oversized. Oftentimes, it would have the year. Here are some example titles. Halloween shirt, front-loading that product and season or occasion. Custom name witch tea for women. So the intent-driven search, who it's for, and whether or not it's custom or personalized, which a lot of people come to Etsy for. Funny Spooky Season 2025. Personalized first Christmas ornament, 2025. Married couple keepsake gift. Custom Halloween tote bag. Trick-or-treat bag for kids. Personalized gift. So in the very first phrase, we have whether it's custom or personalized, the holiday, and the product. Then who it's for, and then personalized gift. So focusing more on those intent-based buyers. All right, so next up, let's review the bestsellers tag strategy. They often used multi-words in varied tags. They had no exact duplicates. They covered core keywords and product types. Typically 3 or 4 tags were formatted that way. They had 3 or 4 audience or recipient related keywords. And then they typically had 2 or 3 occasion or seasonal keywords. And last, they often had 2 or 3 style, aesthetic, or material solution that was used in the product. A lot of the listings preferred long tail over generic. They used synonyms and variations, so Christmas, Xmas, spooky, Halloween. They typically didn't repeat the exact category or attribute. All right, some key takeaways here for you. Here's where bestsellers aligned with the handbook. They did use multi-word tags. They did use audience or recipient and seasonal terms as recommended. They did use clean formatting, so no fluff or gimmicks. And here are where they broke the rules. Titles were typically longer and keyword dense, so not as recommended in the handbook. Tags were often redundant, repeating root words with variations. For example, Xmas ornament, holiday ornament. Readability was often sacrificed for additional keywords in the hopes of having a variety of paths that would lead a customer to their product. Now, one could argue that if they weren't being redundant, they wouldn't have to do so much keyword stuffing, but it does appear to be working for them at this time. Let's go over some key strategies that really stood out to me as I was going over this data. Bestsellers often front-loaded the main keyword and product. So almost every bestseller starts with the exact product buyers are typing. For example, Halloween shirt, Christmas ornament, tote bag. It's always in the very first phrase. Both Etsy and the customer know immediately what this product actually is. All right, here are some title keyword strategies that stood out to me. Next up are occasion and seasonal anchors. These bestseller listings had occasion and seasonal anchors like Halloween, Christmas, fall, spooky season, 2025, first Christmas show constantly. Sellers were often attaching their product to a specific moment in time to ride trending searches. So they were really going after those important milestone memories, which I think is a solid strategy if you are selling gifts, which a lot of people come to Etsy for, because it has a lot of emotional appeal, which can help increase conversion rates. They also often had audience-specific keywords for kids, mom, teacher gift, baby's first Christmas or baby's first Halloween, and family matching, which tie back to those milestone memories because often family matching shirts are for Christmas morning or holiday photos for cards. And then last, bestsellers consistently tailor listings to who the buyer is shopping for, not just the product itself. So they're really good at strategizing and targeting intent-based searches and buyers. They also often had personalization or custom hooks. Popular keywords included personalized, custom name, engraved, or with kids' names. Personalization really is key because it signals higher value and pulls in those searches with intent, or people who are there to search and buy gifts, which makes up the bulk of what people are buying during the holiday season. In just a couple of weeks, I'm going to be hosting Anna from Anywhere POD, and we're going to be really diving deep into high search, low competition, personalized products and how to get more sales on Etsy with personalized products. So make sure you subscribe and tune in for that episode. And if you're not familiar with them, Anywhere POD is a personalization automation software. A lot of sellers can be very intimidated by personalized listings. I know I am. In fact, I have had Christmases before I started using automation software where I turned off successful listings early and lost a lot of money because I couldn't keep up with the personalized orders and just got really frustrated. But with automation software, it just is such a huge time saver. It makes personalized listings far more feasible. You check them out below in the description. I do have a link where you can try them for free for 30 days. Next, bestsellers also use extra descriptors for buyer intent, like funny, cute, trendy, oversized, comfy, or cozy. These add emotional triggers that connect with the niche audiences. All right, guys, let me know what you think and if you agree with the bestseller strategies, or if you plan on playing it safe and strictly following the new guidelines. If you made it all the way to the end, comment Etsy Update Survivor. Catch my latest episode on Etsy Christmas trends. I definitely spilled the beans on what is going to be hot this season, so make sure you check that